Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at a flashlight from a company called WOWTAC. This is the A2 Headlamp, and it says here that it's technically supported by ThruNite, and you can actually see some of the ThruNite design elements here. Now, I want to point out the main selling feature of this flashlight first, or at least what I would consider to be the main selling feature before we go over any of the other specs. This flashlight right here with the rechargeable 18650 is only 20 bucks. Or it's actually, I guess you could say, technically less than 20 bucks because I've seen it for $19.99, $19.95. I'll put a link in the description box. But still, what you get is a headlamp capable of 550 lumens. You get this headgear right here. You get the USB cord and a battery that, believe it or not, you actually charge through the battery itself. The battery has a small USB port, a micro USB port, towards the positive side of the battery. And all you do is you take the provided USB cable that they give you, plug that into your computer, plug it into your cigarette lighter, plug it in wherever, and charge your battery. So all of this for 20 bucks. Now, I don't know about you guys, but about 5 or 6 years ago, I used to work at a job where I always had to use a headlamp, and it was attached to my hard hat. And, you know, it was kind of one of those big clunky things. It had like a standard flashlight, incandescent bulb on it. I mean, that was where the technology was those days. But technology has come so far that now you have a headlamp that is extremely small, extremely lightweight, puts out 550 lumens on turbo, and to be honest with you, probably costs about 3 times less than what I paid for my hard hat headlamp 6 or 7 years ago. So it really is incredible where the technology has come on these things. Now, let me go ahead and I'll go over some of the specs here, okay, because I want you guys to know the output. First, you have Firefly mode. Firefly is 0.3 lumens. It's actually a usable amount of light. So if you're in your garage, maybe you're going through your tools or something like that, and you don't want to, you know, make much noise, you're kind of cruising through the house or whatever the case is, you don't want to wake anybody up, you can use the 0.3 lumen Firefly. Low is 12 lumens, medium is 66, high is 210. And then again, you have turbo at 550, and believe it or not, you have SOS, which runs at 550 lumens. So if you're somebody who's going to be rock climbing, you're hiking, you're off the trail, it's the middle of the night, I don't know, maybe you hurt yourself, you break your leg, you can put that thing on SOS mode, and you know, it'll help people find you. But this was actually a particular flashlight that I've been using quite a bit. As a matter of fact, if you watched my video just a couple days ago where I was working on my 12-gauge shotgun, I needed something where I was hands-free and I could shine a light down the magazine tube so that I could do the work that I needed to do. And this was the flashlight that I was using in that video. It's just great to have a headlamp. You know, it's one of those things where you don't know how much you needed a headlamp until you actually use one. Because when you're sitting there and you've got one under your chin or you got it in your mouth, you're fumbling with it and you hate the taste of your flashlight because it tastes like your oily hands, it's really nice to just go ahead and throw something like this that gets as bright as it does, throw it on your head, and then have your hands free to do whatever they need to do. So really, they just move that technology into a flashlight you can put, you know, on your head. And it's really cool. I mean, the way that it works, and I'll show you that in just a second here, is fantastic as well. It does come, it's set up in this little, it's kind of like a rubbery feeling base right here, and that's what attaches to the headgear, and that rotates. So you do have, you know, 180 degrees of light, whether or not you want to shine it down, you want to shine it up, turn it away from yourself, leave it on, and then just rotate it back down and so forth. So it's a pretty nice setup. It's very comfortable. The material that they use on the side here is nice and soft, so if you're wearing it directly on your head, it does feel pretty good. I've worn this for several hours at a time, and it's been fine. It's actually worked really well, especially, again, for a $20 flashlight. It's got a really nice texture to it. As you can see that it does have some checkering on the flashlight, and it is waterproof as well, so that's something to consider. I believe it's 3-foot drop rated, might be 3 meters drop rated, but still, I've never dropped it before. I don't plan on dropping it now, but I've dropped flashlights like this in the past, and I've never had a problem with them before. So let me go ahead and show you how the battery inserts. We have our connectors right there. You can see it's just a standard connector. Take our flashlight, battery goes positive end in first, and then we'll go and we'll screw this on. And then we'll go through the modes real quick. So you just turn the flashlight on with one click, and then you hold it down, and that will allow you to go through your different modes. So, and then from wherever you are, you can just double click it and go right into turbo. And then you could triple click it. And, well, actually, no, that's SOS. We'll go ahead and hold this down, and then you can use SOS. Here is Firefly. And Firefly, you can actually almost, probably not visible on camera, but Firefly, you can actually see the LED, and it's really impressive. This is a cool white flashlight. So you know that some of them are a little bit yellow. This one right here is a nice cool white. Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll take this thing outside and show you guys exactly what it looks like out in the dark. You know, it's mostly flood, and that's kind of what you want out of a headlamp. You want a nice wide field of view. You don't need a hot spot, because when you're looking at something that's up close, you don't need it burning that nice white hot spot in the center. You want something that's a little bit more diffused, a little bit more ambient, so that you can see everything around you and what you're working on without blinding yourself. So it does give you a good field of view. It's got a nice range to it. And as a matter of fact, being on 550 lumens, you still get a pretty good beam distance out of this thing. But I think mostly what it's going to be used for is something up close. Still, it works really well. Like I said, I've used this for hours at a time. I've only had to charge the battery once, which I think is actually running even longer than they say that it should. So the battery life is really good on this flashlight. It's not something that goes up to 1200 lumens, which is, if you ask me, a little bit ridiculous for a headlamp. But 1200 lumens might burn out the battery a lot faster. At 550, or just using it at high, 210, the battery has lasted quite a bit. So again, it's easy to reach up. You have the battery on the side, or the button on the side, and being able to access that on the side is nice because you don't have to fumble with it. You just reach to the side of the flashlight, you use your thumb and forefinger, and then you could, you know, access your modes. And it's really easy to use. It's really intuitive. There's not much to the instructions. You just put the battery in and you take care of it. So again, it's a really cool flashlight. It's a good headlamp. If you want to, you can always take this out of its base and use it just as a flashlight. Maybe throw it in your pocket. We can take it off the base here. So take it off the base. You could throw this in your pocket, use it for EDC or something like that, and just have it, you know, as a standard flashlight. And because it has the forward-facing bezel, which also has really nice clear glass, by the way. Since it has the forward-facing bezel, it's just kind of a neat flashlight to be able to use like this without having to bend your wrist in a forward position in order to use it. It's more of a natural position if you're going to be looking down or at some type of angle like this, other than holding a flashlight out in front of you. So it's pretty cool. I like this flashlight quite a bit. Again, for the price, I think it's kind of hard to beat, you know, especially the way, again, that technology has come around these days. You can get quite a bit for your money. It's almost like buying a Blu-ray player. You remember they used to cost $600. Now you can find an affordable Blu-ray player for under $100. And that's kind of similar to what's happening with the technology and flashlights now. You can find something that I think is of a much better value. And I do like the fact that it's technically supported by ThruNite, because I've always had a good relationship with ThruNite, and their technical support is fantastic. So something to consider there as well. You do get a little bit of extra value. Anyway, this is the WOWTAC A2 headlamp. A very cool flashlight. Thank you all very much for watching. Again, I'll put links in the description box. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.